Greetings, dear all. Then we are once again at another episode of Breakfast Intellectual Bites. And we promise that all the episodes that will follow will be entertaining, motivating, and engaging. Today's episode of Breakfast Intellectual Bites is designed to make you get acquainted with one of the hobbies that one of the families in the United States has. Then we're going to speak today about beekeeping. And we have a family of beekeepers. The Hello, Vincent and Meredith.
Hello.
Hi.
Okay, you can see them in two pictures because they're not streaming from the computer, but from two telephones because they are their property next to their hives. Then I'm going to start today's episode with one idea. The idea is beekeeper be a bee lover or he will never succeed. Then you have now in the picture two bee lovers that are the same beekeepers. Then first of all, I'd like to make a short intro before we go to the hives virtual. Then, first of all, I'd like to say that the bees are insects with wings closely related to wasps, and they are known for their role in the pollination. There are about 16,000 species of bees. That's something that Google told me yesterday. Beekeeping has been practiced since ancient Egypt, and that's a kind of tradition that wasn't developed in modern times. It has been practiced from old times. The ancestors of bees, you are going to be to learn were wasps, which were predators. Then the switch from insect prey to pollen may have resulted from the consumption of flower visitors who were with pollen. I think that this kind evolutionary scenario in a way resembles to the evolutionary scenario of the people. Then in a way, in the humankind, people can be compared to the bees. Now we have, I'd like to introduce the Carters. Carters, hello, then Vincent and Meredith.
Hey.
We are so happy you have accepted to make us to make a kind of virtual tour to hives. My first question before you start showing everything that you have and start speaking about your bees is, could you associate your bees or the bee with something from the material world? Then what can the bee be associated with from the material world? That's the first question before we go to something that is very engaging.
Sure. It's the human world. I guess you could say that bees are a lot like a perfect community, kind of in sync and in perfect harmony with one another. They're very selfless, and they all do their jobs hard. And the idea is to stay happy and productive, and uh, to it's survival.
Okay. Tell me, please, why did you start this bee hobby?
I've always kind of been fascinated with bees, and let's see, it was 2018. In spring 2018, I had a student in my class that when they got up and they first introduced themselves, he said, "I am a apurist." And I said, "Well, that's a beekeeper, right?" And he said, "Yes." And I said, "I would love for you to teach me how to do that. Can I go with you sometime?" And so he said, "Sure." But to be honest, I'm learning from another guy. And so he had joined a local bee club and was doing an internship of sorts, which means somebody points at things, and he does whatever they tell them. So a lot of it was digging holes, trying to level out spots. He wasn't having a lot of fun. And even when they would take care of the bees and then extract their honey, he never really got to enjoy having the honey himself. So he got a little bit, but he thought, this is something I'd really like to do. And so he asked me would you like to get a couple hives that we could do ourselves? My problem is I'm a college student. I live in an apartment. I don't have a place to do it. And so I said that would be great. And so Meredith was very interested. She was about, oh, I don't know, 6 months pregnant probably at the
Okay.
time. So we started kind of making plans for this right about the time our son was about to be born, who just turned 3. And so um, we did it. I think the same week that Boyd was born was the week that we went and actually picked up our we started with 2 colonies of bees, and we bought those from a man about an hour away or so. And so we picked up our bees and we picked up our baby. Well, not exactly picked up our baby.
Okay.
But,
Okay.
He was
Then
about
should-
3 days old.
okay. Should I understand that that's a kind of family hobby?
I think it will be more of a family hobby. The challenge right now is Boyd's not old enough or has a long enough attention span to do it with us, and so typically, Mare watches Boyd while Jacob and I are still bee partners in everything.
Okay.
And so yes, we would love it to be more of a family thing, and Mare would love to do it. It's just a time factor right now, and
Okay.
just
Then-
life.
Then you are a professor at the University of Arkansas Fayetteville. Then, if you were to choose between teaching and beekeeping, choose one. You can't choose both, and why?
Oh, I love my job. It actually pays money. So beekeeping is an expensive hobby. So that's a good, if you could make a living doing this, and I would probably choose beekeeping, to be honest, but I really like to teach. So, it's not really a fair question because you would have to spend a lot of money to start making any money in bees. And since I have the greatest job in the world, I think I'll stick with the working at the
Teaching.
university. Yes.
Okay. Now, you look like 2 astronauts. Could you
Yes.
describe a little bit the suits that you're wearing? And
Sure.
why do you need the suits?
Well, honestly, the suits, I feel like they're kind of a new thing because for the first couple years that we did this, we would just kind of wear long pants and a long sleeve shirt, and we had gloves, and we had just a veil that we could put over our heads, and so Jacob and I, we kept getting stung, and we kept thinking back to, okay, we got to get one of these suits. So my dad actually bought me a suit. Hey, there's Jacob right there.
Okay.
Jacob and I, we have 2 different apiaries, and so we're gonna actually go and work both hives today. So I told him to come on down and he could get in the video too. So
Okay.
Jacob, like I said, is our partner in everything here, and he's the one that taught me everything I know. So
Okay. Now let's go to the hives. Could you tell me what kind of tools you generally use while inspecting the hives?
yes, so you're gonna see all these in action. Probably the most important thing is what's called a hive tool, and a hive tool is just kind of like a pry bar here. We like the ones that have the hooks on them. So it's got a scraper on the other end, so I can scrape excess wax off. I can actually lift frames out like this. We can pry boxes apart, and so a hive tool is probably your best friend. It's good to have. The bees are getting a little irritated because we're standing in front of their flight. I don't know if you can see them. They're flying over our shoulders into the 2 hives in front of us here. So I might have to put my veil on momentarily, but a nice brush that's soft that we can kind of move the bees around without hurting them. I like to use a frame puller like this just to be able to lift the frames out. It makes it a little bit easier. And then the other thing that's handy is this sits on the side of the hive, and so as we pull a frame out and inspect it, I can put this back down into it. You can wear those right there, Jacob. Those are better. Yeah. But Mary's gonna wear those gloves.
We're good.
So,
I
no.
probably won't be getting into the hive.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll be close, but I'm
those are mine.
sorry.
Well, yeah, just because I think they're better than those other ones, and barbecue. I brought those for the barbecue. So those are pretty much the only tools we have. So we decided we wanted to get these nice suits that, you know, they go from top to bottom. They've got a big hood on them, and you feel really protected in these because no bee. They can sting you. I'm not saying they can't, but we very rarely get stung anymore with these. So the most important tool is your bee suit. And then I've got a smoker over here that Jacob will probably bring over to us, and we're going to light that up. And so a smoker is it's just like this. Jacob, come on in and say hey if you want to.
Okay, hello. Then we have the third participant. Not a Carta. Is Jacob a Carta?
No.
Jacob's a
Okay.
crane.
Okay, he's not the Carta, but
he's a
he's one
fellow-
of the participants.
He's a
Okay.
fellow teacher. So Jacob
Okay.
teaches 6th grade, and he's also got big news. He's getting married on Friday
Okay, congratulations
Thank
on
you.
your coming wedding.
to a lovely lady named Aubrey that was also one of my students. So I'm so excited for them.
Okay, congratulations once again. Then now let's go to the hives. And while you're going to show us something, show the bees in your hives, I'm going to ask questions.
All right, sounds good.
Then there is one question that I wondered about, and yesterday while Googling, I learned that there are 16,000 species of bees. Do you know how many species you have in your hives?
We have probably several. They're total mutts. We would call
Okay.
a dog that's not a certain breed is a mutt. I don't know if you guys use that term, but what we have is nothing in particular. They're bees that we've either caught, and so we actually started out with those 2 hives that I mentioned, and those 2 hives have come and gone, and I'm sure we have some of those genetics still, but for the most part, we kind of have a mixed breed of bees. So, we still refer to them as, I would say, mutts, Ozark mutts. And the great thing about that is they're local bees, and so they're pretty hardy as far as our winters and our hot summers, and we're hoping that we never have to purchase bees again. That's kind of our goal, is to just kind of.
But the business is that the bees, they came from Europe.
It's possible.
That's definitely not me who said it. Then yesterday, while reading some articles, then I learned that the honeybees, they came from Europe.
Yeah, they're not native.
They are not
I think
native
Russia,
in the United States.
I would say Asia as well, because, but I don't know. I don't know if they started in Europe or not.
But that's the thing that the scientists say.
Okay.
Okay. Okay, let's see. Then first of all, tell me, how many hives do you have on your property?
Well, right here we've got 6, and if you look around, we've got a few that are taller than others, and we'll talk about that for a second. These are a 5-frame box, so we're going to open up our smallest hives first, and we'll kind of go in order of bigger to smaller. So this hive has a smaller box on the top. It's called a honey super, and we've got a piece of metal in between called a queen excluder. So our goal is to try to keep the nest in the large box on the bottom and just let them produce honey, and we'll take later from them. With the exception, this hive is the same. Now, this hive we've actually got 2 deeps, and so this is one of our hives through the winter, and we're just going to let queen run the hive once, and so she's strong and building up, and so we've went ahead and put boxes to build their nest, and when they build a nest, it's about the size of a basketball, and so they put it right between boxes. The idea is brood; those are bees that are out to hatch. They kind of surround that pollen, and I'm getting tagged.
Okay.
So they fill it with pollen and nectar, and that way they can sustain themselves throughout the winter, because in the winter they have hives typically.
Okay. Can you tell us how many bees are in a hive generally?
Are in a hive.
Yeah, I do understand that you haven't counted them, but okay, roughly speaking, how many bees are there in a hive?
I'm going to say that probably we have about 20,000 to 30,000 in the larger hive over here. And then these
Uh-huh.
vary. There's going to be, from a few hundred to several thousand.
Okay.
So a good healthy hive might have 50,000 bees in it.
Okay. What makes the bee? Have you had cases when the bees either die or they don't come back to the hive?
Oh, we this summer we started, I should say winter, we started 12 hives, and before May we were down to only 3. We had a day when it got down to -20 here in Northwest Arkansas, and so that was pretty devastating to our bees. And mainly we looked like they froze in right on their frames, and it was pretty.
Okay.
But we
Then I think that the people, okay, Vincent, I think that the people don't know that generally Arkansas, the winters are very mild.
we
And
very mild.
winter, you got a very severe winter for a couple of weeks. That means with a lot of snow and very low temperatures.
Correct. Yeah, it's
Okay.
usually very mild here, so we don't have to insulate hives. We just let them, regulate the temperature themselves, and so they were not used to that shock of the negative temperatures.
Yeah, that's right. It was really cold this winter. Okay. Could you now show the most engaging moment? Show us the bees.
All right.
I don't know, I have never seen a queen. I know that there are 3 types of bees: the working bees, the lazy bees, and queen. Am I right?
That's right. The lazy bees being the male.
The ladies are the male.
Yeah, these are the yeah, the males.
They're called drones.
Okay, the drones. Okay, then these are the bees.
Then that's a
Are
frame.
the Arkansas bees.
Arkansas. There's a chewed up, if you want to.
Can you show us the queen, or you are supposed to look for it?
Yeah, we'll find it.
Is that a queen cell? There.
So
Yeah.
this is one we split our hive. We do that mainly to help bees when they're happy and things are well. Typically, they will try to swarm and reproduce, and so they do that by raising a new queen, and then the old queen actually leaves the hive. And so,
Does the queen get old?
oh yeah, queen can keep laying eggs, maybe 2 to 5 years.
Okay.
They're looking for the queen right now.
So this
Okay.
is a frame where they haven't quite filled out all the cells. There's a drone. I don't know if you can tell.
Okay.
That's a drone versus the worker bees around it. So the drone kind of looks like a horsefly. It's kind of a larger, goofy looking thing.
Okay, let me see. I'm going
Lots of honey here. What we're looking for particularly, when we check our bees, we always want to make sure we have eggs. And we had eggs the other day. Are you seeing anything? Okay. They may have swarmed. This is that frame that Jacob had earlier.
Okay.
So you see the worker bees are smaller.
Uh-huh.
And they
How many drones are there in a hive generally?
I can't tell you that.
But is the number smaller than of that of the working bees?
Oh, much smaller, much smaller.
Okay.
So the idea is drones, they die off, or they kind of kick them out of the hive in the fall, and they don't make more drones until they need them later on in the spring. And they do that because the drones will go on what's called a mating flight. Queens only mate once a year, or once in their lifetime. Here's the queen right here.
Oh.
So this is the virgin queen. She's probably not mated, She kind of has one circle. I'm putting my hive tool right on top of her.
Uh-huh.
She looks a
Okay.
little different. We'll show you a better looking queen than that. But I bet she came out of this peanut right here.
Uh-huh.
And I bet that she's going to be going on a mating flight soon if she hasn't already. And what she'll do is she'll go up in the air 50 or 60 feet, and she will mate with one of the drones. Not from her own hive, typically from other hives. And so that
Okay.
kind of also broadens the genetics. So even though you might say you have a certain type of bee, sometimes you just don't know what you have. So for instance, if I had a Russian bee and they went out and they mated with an Italian bee.
Okay. But you said that you're not sure whether the bees come from Europe. One from Hong Kong, for example.
What's that now?
It's very possible that one of the queen is not a Russian one, but one.
Correct. That's true.
Okay. Great. Then, okay.
I mean,
This one was looking especially good the other day. So Jacob's saying there's eggs, and that's what we want to see. We want to make sure our queen is laying. She lays thousands of eggs a day.
What color are the eggs?
The eggs look like you can see right here. This is larva. And as you get to the edge, those larvae get very small. And so when a queen lays an egg, it actually looks like a very small grain of rice.
Okay.
the larvae look like little shrimp.
Yeah, as they get bigger, they look like shrimps. And then what they'll do is they'll put wax over the top of them after they've grown a little bit. And pretty soon, about a month, we'll see the bees will hatch right out of the wax. They chew that wax off of their nice red place, and we'll come back. So we'll look.
So
We're
all
looking
that
for that is all. Here's a bee that's maybe emerging. You can see it kind of coming out of that, or it's digging. It could be cleaning out. It's hard sometimes.
see how they're covered. The holes are covered up. That's got baby. They'll chew out. Queen.
Okay, tell me please, then I think many of the people that don't know anything about beekeeping, they're going to ask,
There's a queen.
where is,
That's
the queen.
So she's noticeably larger than the other bees, longer.
Okay, longer and larger. Yeah, we see it. I see it. I hope that the audience can see the queen too.
Oh, yeah.
Under his glove. So there's just, we want to make sure.
She's good looking, and we want to protect her and make sure she's happy.
Okay, yeah. Here it is. Yeah.
Now, some people put a bit of color with a marker on their bees, so it's easier to see the queen. We've just never done that. So, man, she looks great, doesn't she?
Yeah,
Big.
that's a big bee.
Big bee.
Yeah.
She never leaves the hive.
Oh, she doesn't fly? She can't fly, or she never leaves the hive?
Well, she can fly. Some people will clip their wings so they can't.
Okay.
But naturally, if she thinks it's time to reproduce, meaning like create a new hive, what she'll do is she'll lay an egg, and they will create what's called a peanut cell. And that peanut cell, we're going to actually look through this hive and see if we can find one. We don't necessarily. Yeah, you want to put it back?
Yeah. Here she is. I think that she resembles a wasp.
She does look more like a wasp. Her body does.
Yeah, that's right. Okay.
And she can live about, 2 to 5
years. How many frames do you have in this hive? Is this a big hive or a small one? Okay, I think I've lost the connectivity of one of the cameras. Camera number 2.
Okay.
Oh, here it is.
Yeah.
Okay, it's back. Okay, it's back.
Can you? I don't know if you can hear the buzz.
Can you hear the buzz?
Yeah, yeah. I wonder how many frames do you generally have in a hive?
Well, typically each box is going to have 10 frames.
Okay, is this a medium size, small size, or big size hive?
That's kind of the standard. And
Okay,
then
that's the standard.
so each one of these is a frame, and then what happens is, as they need more space, if she needs more room to lay eggs.
Okay, I've lost the connectivity of the camera. Could you switch on the microphone on camera number 1, the stationary one? Switch on the mic, of this one, yes. Okay, I think, okay, Meredith is back. Okay,
There we go.
Meredith is back.
Okay, I'm gonna flip you around.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just a second. Okay, there we go.
Okay, here they go. That's the big box.
Yes.
That's hive.
So each box has 10 frames, and then what we'll do is we'll add boxes on top. So this hive has 20 frames, 10 frames that are the nest, where the queen's laying eggs and reproducing. And this top box right here is just honey. We're doing really good looking.
Sorry, my gloves back on.
Okay, should I understand that that's honey already?
Yes.
Okay,
Can you see it?
yes. Then I do understand where there is honey and where there is wax. And that,
Right.
okay.
The honeycomb is made of wax, and they fill it with nectar, and it turns it into honey.
Okay. Then I'm not very good. My grandparents had hives, but I was too small to be allowed to go and inspect the bees.
Oh, wow.
I have never seen it from inside.
It's pretty fascinating.
Yeah, it is.
I am completely fascinated. You talk about the perfect science lesson right here, how the natural world works.
Yeah, that's right.
Bees are amazing.
And the bees make the honeycomb. We don't do that. They build it, they make the wax and build it and shape it. So the shape that it is made by those little bugs.
That part that's covered is ready.
This part that's covered, it's capped. That means it's ready. They're just covered it up. It's like putting a lid on a jar. And
Okay.
it up, and then so they're still working on this. That's not covered up. They're still filling those up. And then once
Okay. My question is, when do you generally crop the honey? Where is there a special season, a special time, or any time when the frame is full with honey?
Right now is what's called the flow. That means that we've still got a little bit of moisture in the ground. The flowers are blooming. There's a lot of nectar to be gathered, but we're going to get into a season pretty soon where we're going to call it the drought of what's the word, Jacob? The dearth, where everything becomes really dry. There's just not a lot of nectar to be gathered.
You want to tell them about the screen?
Yeah, and so that's about probably when we want to harvest, as we get really close to that.
Probably later summer.
Okay, later in the summer, then you harvest the honey. How much honey will you harvest from all the hives?
We don't know until we get it. So
okay, how much did you harvest? Did you harvest the last year?
I don't know. 200 or 300 pounds. Yeah, 200 or 300 pounds probably.
200 or 300 pounds. That's 150 kilograms. Am I right?
Yeah, 120 kilos.
Yes,
Probably.
that's what Jacob just
That's
said.
about 150
And
kilograms.
that's about
Right,
enough
that's a
for
lot.
Jacob and Boyd and myself to eat throughout a year.
Okay,
That's
then
enough
you
for us. We
generally
eat a lot of honey.
you that's only for your personal consumption. Do you sell
No,
honey in general?
we give it to our friends.
Okay, you give us its presents. Then tell me, please, is beekeeping a hobby for you or a business?
It's a hobby. So our
Okay.
goal is to if we do make any money, we want to try to put it back into our bees. And who knows, maybe one day we'd make money, but you know, it's a hobby. Our goal is to try to be a little self-sustainable now. And so let me show you this real quick, Victoria. This is
Okay.
called a
What's
queen
this?
excluder. It's just a piece
Okay,
of
say it
metal,
again.
a queen excluder. And so that the queen you saw how big a queen was when she's
Yeah.
mated and laying and healthy. She can't actually fit through this, but all the worker bees can. So our goal is to try to keep the drones out of the top. Remember, the drones are males.
Mm-hmm.
They're the lazy bums that just eat your honey all day. So we
Yeah,
don't want them.
that's why they are
here.
called lazy bees.
Yes. So we want only the worker bees to come up here, and we want them to be in the super making lots of honey.
Okay. Tell me, please, could you tell me how much have you bought the?
Have I bought a lot? Have you bought a lot? Is her question.
We bought 2 hives to start,
Uh-huh.
and then the only thing we've had to buy are basically
This here.
the
That's where a queen came
woodenware.
out of.
That's a queen came out of that.
And that's what we
cell.
hoped.
Oh, okay.
So that's how you know.
If we see one of those that isn't chewed out, we know that a queen's coming, and we need to do something.
Okay.
So
Then,
we're looking for the new queen today.
okay, you are looking for, okay, why do you need to look for a new queen?
Well,
Should I
because
understand that now in this hive there are 2 queens, the old one and the new one.
most of our time we're spent just making sure that queen's happy and laying, or to kind of make sure, look and see if we need a new queen. And it's really easy. The bees will produce a new queen. We might we might have to help them a little bit.
Why do they produce a new queen?
Because if something happens, she gets killed accidentally or smashed, then they will make sure that they have one and are raising a queen. And so that's what we're trying to do, is just kind of keep them alive and keep them happy. And so
Okay, tell me.
this something had happened to this queen, or she may have swarmed. She may have actually left the hive,
Okay.
which is natural. They wanna proliferate and reproduce, and so we think that's probably what this hive did, is maybe swarmed or the queen got killed accidentally. And so we want to check and make sure that they have everything they need. And I think they need a peanut, which means if we find another peanut cell
That hasn't been chewed
that
up.
hasn't been chewed out, that's a queen. And what we'll do is we're going to stick it in this hive. And
Okay.
so as we go through the other hives here, that's what we're going to be looking for, just because these guys need a little bit of help. And it'll take them about a month to get back. But the great thing is they'll hopefully keep filling up this super with honey. And so we won't lose a lot of honey production, because we're going to just kind of stay on top of it and make sure that
Okay. You know, I wanted to ask yesterday while preparing for the stream, then I came across a fact that when the bees find something valuable for the hive, they start dancing.
Oh, the wiggle dance. You gotta love it. You kind of fly around in a circle, you come back and shake your booty, and you say, "Hey guys, the clover's blooming there, or there's some honeysuckle over there, or the most delicious. There's a girl that's this new flavor from Sonic, which is a place where people go in the afternoon in the summer, a cool drink
with lots of sugar.
with lots of sugar, and they're like, you guys gotta come to this. It's a new flavor." And so we all come to the pool over here.
Okay, but have you ever seen a bee dancing? Because
Oh yeah,
me, they always dance. Then the way they fly, it's a kind of dance. But have you seen a kind of different behavior of the bees?
Really obvious when you see it.
Okay.
The other thing they do sometimes is we catch wild swarms. So Jacob may call me and say, "Hey, there's a swarm at this place," and so we might drive to that place, and we try to shake them into a box. And as long as we get the queen in the box, all the other bees that are everywhere, they'll start doing that. Say, "Hey, she's in this box. Everybody come."
Okay. Then still the behavior changes.
Correct.
Okay. Good.
Their way of communicating.
Okay, they try to communicate.
Mhm.
There is one another question about the bees' behavior. Do they behave differently throughout different seasons?
Yes, they're pretty. When they get a lot of honey in their hive, they get angry, and they don't want you to bother them. I think these girls.
But look at this bee.
We got eggs. Here's queen.
Right.
We got a queen. We
There's
had a
the
queen the other day, so she's laying.
This one, see the yellow on that one? Can you see the yellow dots on their legs?
Okay, not
Hold
quite,
on.
because there is. I think the sun is shining, and it's very difficult to determine whether there is a bee with something with a dot.
She has yellow on her legs. This one here. Where is she? I can't see on the phone. Where'd she go? There she is. That's a pollen that she's collected.
Can you see the little puffs of yellow?
Uh-huh. Okay,
That's
yes.
on her.
Yes.
That's on her legs, and that's pollen that she's collected from flowers, and she's brought it back to the hive. They store it on their legs.
Okay, that's not the queen. Is this the queen? That's a simple bee, working bee.
That's just a worker
Just
bee.
a worker bee.
Okay.
She's been out flying around this morning and gathering pollen.
Okay, then there is a special construction that the boxes are put on. Then you have some bricks. Why?
Just for wind. We don't want one of the lids to blow off.
She means what they're sitting on.
Oh, you mean these down here? These are
Yeah,
just
yeah.
kind of they're concrete blocks that.
A kind of foundation for the hives. Why
Right.
do you need them?
Well, we just want to make sure our hives are level, but we actually want them tilted forward a little bit. So if we have a really hard blowing rain, any water would drain out of there. So
It keeps them off the
keeps
wet
them
ground.
off the ground. So if it rains, mud doesn't splash back up on the side of the hives, and just general protection. Yeah, harder for predators to get up to the. Oh, there's a lot of bees in here. You ready for
It's gonna get loud.
Hopefully you can hear this because we're smoking them. So.
Oh, there are a lot of them. Should I understand that there is a lot of honey in there if there are so many workers?
This probably has a lot of honey. So this is the hive that we have kind of two nest boxes. And we call them deeps. And the idea is the queen is probably going to lay a lot more. So this hive is probably pretty hardy because it survived our harsh winter. But they took a long time to kind of get started again. And so there's some queen cups on the bottom there. Wow, look at all that. That's going to be
This is all bees, baby bees under there.
1,000 more bees right there.
Okay.
All that's covered up is called brood.
They are inside. Should I understand that the small bees are inside?
Yes.
And they're not that small once they hatch. They're right.
They're the normal size
when they hatch. It's not like you can say.
That's boy bees.
That's called drone brood.
Do you see those? Those are the male bees. Can you see the larva inside?
Yeah. Okay. I see now the larvae inside.
Mm-hmm. And then those that look like little popcorn, little packing bubbles. Those are going to be drones, male bees.
Oh, then they have different color from the time they
That's here.
no, the larvas.
No, the larva could end up, that larva that you saw could be a worker bee. It's just the way that
Okay.
they're covered, where it
Okay.
kind of pops out a little bit. Yeah, that's a drone. Where see how it's, these are all flat. Those are all going to be worker bees.
See those
Okay.
that are popped out?
Vincent, could you tell me, is beekeeping your only hobby?
Well, I have too
There's
many hobbies,
drones.
and it's just one of many. But
Okay.
probably my favorite pastime. I really like these. They're a lot of fun.
Would you like Boyd, your son, to continue, okay, your hobby of beekeeping?
Absolutely. He knows if Jacob's coming over, he goes, "Hey, you guys checking bees?" He was
Okay, and
actually
he
probably
knows
one
that
of the
Jacob
first
comes
ones
to inspect the
said.
bees.
He loves Jacob and he loves bees.
He's never been
Does,
this close, but
does
he
he
knows.
like honey?
Oh, here's,
He loves
he
honey.
loves honey. There's his,
Okay, he loves
just
honey.
loves boys.
Okay. Oh, Boyd's bees. Good.
He'll come when the hives are closed. We'll walk down and watch the bees go in and out of the hives. So he likes to do that. We don't get too close, but he's not afraid of them. He'll see him when he's playing outside. He'll see him on the flowers and point them out. So
Okay.
yeah, I think
He's exposed to science lessons from his birthday.
right. Yes, I think he was about 3 days old when we got our first bees. So
Okay. Are the bees aggressive? And if they are, when they are generally aggressive?
can you see them all flying around now?
Yeah. Are they aggressive now?
They're getting more aggressive just because they've got a lot of honey in there, and they want to protect their honey. They don't necessarily see us as a threat, but we're coming into their home and we're throwing the blankets off the bed and moving their toys, and we're just really causing them some anxiety right now. So we try to get in and out as quick as possible. But the smoke actually helps calm them down, and it's a little bit mean because they actually think there's probably a forest fire, and so what they do is they start eating honey, and in order to prepare to have to leave if they need to. So if things get really bad, then they got to get the heck out of Dodge.
So they're more focused on survival as opposed to getting mad at you for opening their hive when they see
what happens during the winter time?
The winter time, they're just kind of all in that basketball shape or even smaller, and they are flapping their wings to regulate the temperature and trying to eat as little honey as they need just to sustain themselves. A lot less bees. In fact, all these will go down to 1 or 2 boxes. We won't have the honey supers on top because they won't be producing a lot of honey.
Okay. Tell me, please, do you have any ideas to enlarge the number of the hives that you have on your property?
We kind of our goal is to just kind of sustain what we already have.
Okay, then you don't want to have more hives than you have right now.
Well, we have 6 here, and we have 6 more at Jacob's house. And now that he's like a real teacher and not a college student, he's bought a house, and behind him is a field where his neighbor lets him keep bees. And and so I think we have enough boxes to house, about 13 individual hives. And so if we could sustain that 13, we would be really happy.
Okay, tell me, please, can you compare your wife to a bee? If we're speaking about bees.
Just being wonderful. I guess she's kind of like the queen, and she takes care of the house and keeps order.
Okay, what kind of role do you have?
What kind of role do I have?
Yeah. If comparing, are you a lazy bee?
No.
I'm a worker bee, I guess.
Serving my queen.
Okay. Okay, that's great. Then, Meredith, are you angry when Vincent spends a lot of time with his bees?
No.
Angry with him?
The cool thing about beekeeping hobby is it's seasonal. I mean, there's things to do throughout the year, but the busiest time with the bees is in the summertime, and he has a lot of extra time in the summer being a teacher, and so no, I like it because he loves it, and it's fun to watch him get excited about things that he loves, and so no, he doesn't. He doesn't neglect us for the bees. So
Okay, that's great. Then
yeah.
he has special love for you and special love for the bees. How
Yes.
does Vincent spend? How much time does he spend with his hive? For example, if he has to inspect, roughly speaking, how much time does he spend there on the property working with the bees?
It depends on what's going on in the hives. If they find if the hives are in trouble and they need to move some queens around or do some extra work, it takes some extra time. But at the beginning of the season, it takes a little extra time just getting things ready and for the nectar flow when things get busy. So it varies. It just depends on what the hives are. Usually, if he's going to plan to check bees with Jacob, it's usually, it can take an hour or it could take all afternoon. So it just
Okay.
depends on what they have, what they see when they open the hives, and so I just don't really plan to expect anything of him when he's checking.
Okay,
bees,
when he's busy with his checking on the bees,
Yeah.
does Vincent check the bees on a weekly basis or on a
Usually
monthly
a
basis?
couple times a week. Is that it depends?
Oh,
Depends on the time of year.
Depends on the time of year. In the summertime, they're real busy and they're reproducing quite a bit, and there's a time of year when they swarm more than other times of year. Just so they just want to make sure that they're happy and don't swarm and leave on us, and we don't lose our bees. So, how often would you say? Once a week, twice a week? Just kind of
average once a week throughout the year.
yeah.
okay.
In the
Then
winter time, though, you don't ever want to open the hive in the winter because they'll get too cold, and they're working to look at that.
Now, guys,
That is honey.
okay, that's honey. Then we are supposed to go to the carters because
Yes,
they have already honey
that
to be
goes
harvested.
that goes on Boyd's toast right there.
Okay. Okay. Do you have special tools to harvest the honey?
Oh yeah,
Yes. We have special tools.
Good, it's all 10 frames.
And oh wow.
Okay, you can
So that
see.
we've got 10 full frames of honey right there.
Okay. Absolutely. We are going to go to check on the Carter's hives because they have honey. They have honey.
Yes.
Yeah.
60, 70 pounds.
60.
30 kilos.
30 kilograms? Oh, that's a lot.
Yeah, it is. It is a lot.
That's a lot. That's from one hive.
Yes.
Well,
Or one box.
of the hive.
One box.
That's
Just
one box.
see how these are smaller? Those are super. Those are just honey. And so
Oh,
smaller
just
frame.
honey.
And they're smaller so they aren't so heavy. Is part of it. What else? What's the other reason? Why are they shorter than the deeps? What's the purpose of them being shorter?
I don't know.
No,
I thought it was just the weight. I don't know.
I thought it was weight. I didn't know if there was another reason.
Okay, then generally these are the hives, honey hives.
Yes, because if they were bigger, they would be harder to maneuver.
Okay.
They're not on there super long.
Yeah, the bees just fill
They're
up.
only on there a few months out of the year, and then we take them off.
Oh, it's full of honey too.
See how they work from the middle and then they go out.
Spread it out. So we hope we'll get 2 full of these supers of honey would be ideal.
Okay, then we're coming to an end.
60 kilos.
Jacob, Vincent, and Meredith, could you give pieces of advice to those who would like to start beekeeping?
Go do it with somebody else first.
Yeah, learn. Make sure before you, because it's not cheap to get into it. There are a lot of people that would love to share their hobby with you. So I think beekeepers, they want to tell other people about the importance of pollinators and their love of bees. And so there's a lot of great bee clubs around the world, and that's not something I've ever really gotten involved in. But Jacob, that's kind of how he got started. And so just ask. Look, if you see some beehives, I guarantee you could go up to those people and say, could I come and learn about bees from you? And they would probably love to take you under their wing, so to speak, show you.
Okay, Meredith, could you give pieces of advice to the wives of those that want to start beekeeping?
Yes, I would say definitely show some interest in it. I think that that makes it more fun for everybody. I mean, he's real excited about the bees and what they're doing, and I think because I'm interested, it makes it more fun for all of us. Yeah. And I would definitely be in there more if I had time. But they have said, both of them have said it's a lot more fun when you have someone to do it with. So okay. they have fun together, and then whenever I can get out and just even see what they're doing is fun. I think that's my best piece of advice, is just to look at it as something that's fun and enjoy it together is probably the best advice for wives that I could say. Is just
then we're coming, dear Carters, we're coming to an end. Could you turn your faces? I do understand that you are very busy with the bees. Could you turn your faces in such a way that the people see you, although it's very hard to see your face in this astronaut suits?
Yeah.
But we would like that you, tell the last thought to all that we're watching.
Yes. Well, one, I love to talk about bees and just our hobby. And so we are really thankful that you could join us and give me an audience to talk to. And any opportunity that Meredith can get into the hives is awesome, because usually she's busy with Boyd. Today my mom's got Boyd, and they're having a great time. But I just love that Meredith can get in and see her smile. So that's the best part. And if you're interested in bees, I really would encourage you to seek out somebody that has them, and I know they would love to share their love or passion for bees with you as well. So great hobby, lots of fun. We're a lot bigger than I would have ever guessed. I would have thought that we would only have a couple hives, and we found real quickly that it's easier to make sure that you have a couple hives when you maybe have a dozen or so.
Okay, thank you so much, Meredith and Vincent, for such an entertaining episode of Intellectual Bites. I think that the people enjoyed. Dear audience, don't forget that the beekeeper should be a bee lover, or he will never succeed. Then keep an eye on us, because we are going to have a series of very interesting episodes of Breakfast Intellectual Bites. Thank you so much once again. Bye. Thank you greatly.
Bye, everybody. Thank you, Victoria.